Hi everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and that you're ready to start the new year off right. So today I will be working in my art journal again, and what better resolution for the new year than to discover your dreams. I'm sure this is a resolution that will not only be fun, but also doable. So let's get started. I'm going to be working on a single sheet that I've removed from my Strathmore Mixed Media Visual Journal. I have a glass mat beneath it, which makes for really easy cleanup. So the first thing I will do is gesso the page to not only prime it but also strengthen the paper. I will be using white gesso, but you could use any gesso color you want for your base. You can even brush on an uneven coat of gesso for more texture. I like to use my heat tool to speed the drying time. Next I'm going to add some modeling paste. Any brand will work. I'm going to spread it with my spatula, similar to the irregularities you would find on a stucco wall. I just want to get some texture down. As you can see, I'm spreading the paste in different directions for interesting results. Now before the paste dries, I want to add even more texture with some everyday household objects. First, I have some metal wire window screen I've cut into a small square. I also have some plastic netting from a vegetable bag that I would like to try out. The plastic netting is giving only a slight visible texture. Some thinner areas of the paste have dried already, so I needed to press a little bit harder to get it to leave some indentations. And using the flat end of my spatula seemed to work a bit better than just using my finger. Now I'm using the metal window screen material, and this seems to be giving me a deeper impression. The really cool thing I discovered is that it looks like a piece of gauze or loosely woven fabric. And in those areas where the paste had already dried, I could spread a little bit more of the paste over the top of the screen with my finger and push it through to get the same effect. I really like this, and I think you will see me using it for texture a lot more in the future. Now it's time to get some colors on the page. I have two of the new Vivid Ultra Metallics in Blue Flame and Mallard Green. I want to keep these colors light and transparent, so I'm adding water to the paper and the paint to create a blended gradient between them. I'll just keep brushing and working them together with the water for a soft background. And you'll see the colors sort of blend and make a new color in between, which is really what I'm going for. You can really see those textures popping off the background now. I've gone ahead and cut out a few die cut pieces. I've used the weathered clock from Tim Holtz, the tick-tock alarm clock from Tim Holtz, and I used papers from this Die Cuts with a View natural matte stack, it's called. It's quite old. It's got some funky looking papers in here, which I thought would be uh, quite appropriate for New Year's. I also cut out some numbers for 2018 from brown cardstock, and I did do an extra piece from cereal box weight or thin weight chipboard just because I want to layer these and make it sit up just a little bit higher. This is going to be my focal point for the new year, and I also did that too for the hands. And I did cut out a clock face to put inside here, and I got that from this particular pad. This is quite old by Tim Holtz. It's called Lost and Found, and as you can see, he's got a page with clocks. Each one of these clocks will fit inside that opening for the alarm clock. And I just cut, you can pick whichever one you want. I just cut this one from the bottom here. And now that you know where I got all the pieces, I'm going to go ahead and start layering and gluing everything down for you. I cut the weathered clock in half so that I can place one half in the upper left and the other half in the lower right portion of the page. By placing those down first, it is a bit easier to tell where to center the alarm clock as my focal point. I used collage glue stick and matte medium to glue the pieces to the page. However, the chipboard really sucked up the matte medium, so I had to keep adding more matte medium to the edges until I could get it to stick together. Now I'm using the glue stick to glue the paper clock hands to the chipboard clock hands. Before I glue the alarm clock down, I want to pierce a hole in the center of the clock face so that I can attach the clock hands with a brad. I am setting the hands to appear to be just before midnight. Now I glued the two halves of the weathered clock down with matte medium, which seemed to work just fine with the paper pieces. I'm using tacky white glue to adhere the alarm clock, since I now know that it needs a stronger glue to attach the chipboard. To get it to stick, I then lay heavy objects on it to hold it down while the glue dries. Before I glue the hands down to each clock half, I glued half of the circle piece from the alarm clock to the inside of each. Then I glued the clock hands down over the print paper. I used my little Xyron sticker maker to turn my numbers into stickers. I like to burnish the pieces with my fingers before I remove them from the release paper. After adding the numbers, I gave all my paper die cuts a coat of matte medium. Okay, now I want to add a little bit of bling in the corners here. I've got this art anthology stencil. It's called Lotus, and I've been dying to try it, and I thought the circles on this particular one would go well with the clocks. So I'm going to use my Emperor's Gold Radiant Gel and a spatula, and I'll spread that on through there. And that'll give me that added bling that I want. The Radiant Gels is a nice thick and creamy paint. Because it is a heavy bodied paint, it works super well with stencils. And I recommend cleaning it off your stencil right away so it won't clog your design. And if you get any paint on the numbers, you can wipe it right off since we protected them with the matte medium. Another fun thing to do with the Radiant Gels is put a small amount on the end of your spatula and scrape it across any textural designs, hitting only the high spots. It will add some really cool effects to the background. Since I've used this paper with a copper foiled print, I wanted to introduce some orange. Mandarin Blush is another one of the newest additions to the Vivid line, and I use the same technique as before, adding water to make a transparent wash to add just a hint of the color randomly over the background. I think this helps pull it all together. Well, I don't want to scare you, but I'm about to add some dark brown color to my background. I love all things vintage, aged, old, antiqued, all words befitting my personal tastes. I've been wanting Brown Vivid to do just that, and here it is, burnt umber. Once again, I added lots of water to keep it transparent and flowing, and as long as it is wet, you can pick up as much or as little color as you like. I like to use a baby wipe for this. However, once it is dry, it will be permanent. The color over the whole page, including the die cuts, and allow the color to find its way into the nooks and crannies. I love how the color gets caught in the crevices of the textures and around the die cuts. I know it looks a bit scary, but if you like an aged look, this will do the trick. It will bring out all the textures we added in the beginning and antique it at the same time. Here's a closer look. I wish the camera could show you the beautiful coppery undertones of this color, but unfortunately it doesn't really do it justice. Don't worry if you think you've added too much antiquing. You can reintroduce your colors to brighten it up a bit, which is what I am doing by just rubbing the Blue Flame Vivid randomly with a damp baby wipe. Now I'm going to add some depth and shading with my Faber-Castell big brush pens. To start, I'm using warm gray to outline my die cuts. This will make them pop off the page. Just apply the color and smudge it with your finger before it dries for optimum shading. Next, I'll add a little blue shading with the Cobalt Turquoise pen. And finally, a bit of brown shading here and there with the Nougat pen. Now for some words of wisdom for the coming year. I'm selecting words from the Tim Holtz Big Chat sticker book. I've chosen 3 words: discover your dreams. Sounds like a plan to me. What do you think? I'm using the white tacky glue to help them stick to the page better. And then I will coat them with a layer of matte medium. And then I'll let that dry. While that's drying, I'll do a little line work with my white gel pen to help those numbers stand out. Here's a closer look at those numbers. My matte medium should be dry now, so I need to get rid of that bright white on those stickers. So I'm going to smear the Cobalt Turquoise big brush pen over each one to add a blue tone. And then I'll outline each one with the Nougat to add more depth and shading. There, I call that done. I hope you enjoyed my art journal page today and that you're inspired to make one with your own resolution for the new year. Thanks so much to everyone who subscribes to my channel. Your support means so much, and I appreciate you all. Here's wishing you a very happy and prosperous new year. Thanks for watching, and stay crafty, my friends.